Hey guys, how you doing? Let me get this going. Testing. Welcome to the stream, Code Long and Profit. Let me know in the comments if you can hear me clearly or not. Just want to do a sound check. Check. Can you hear me? Ruby. So, yeah, welcome to the stream. I figured I'd jump on. I'm not doing any Christmas Eve stuff tonight. So I think for other people such as ourselves, I figured, hey, why not? Let's do a live stream. Little Q&A. I got some topics of discussion related to coding, and I'll answer any questions that you may have. So, yeah, first of all, let us know where you're from. Leo, Lolo, Pablo, Everson, Walter, he's told me he was from California. Very cool. Fontana, California. Very cool. Yeah, so San Francisco. So we got people from a lot of West Coasters. Very cool. Let me just increase the size of this stuff so we can see. Yeah, cheers. So let me know if you can hear me. Testing, 1, 2, 3. Testing, 1, 2, 3. If you will, in the comments. Also, you can give me some thumbs. I would appreciate that as well. Thumbs up. And yeah, we'll just jump into it. We'll jump into the show. So how are we doing? Merry Christmas, everybody. Yeah, so let us know. I'll get into it once. I need somebody to confirm. Newark, Ohio, I guess that is. I need somebody to confirm that you can hear me. I assume that you can if they're answering my questions. Yeah, Merry Christmas. Hello. Rob, how are you, man? Been a while. So, what I want to talk about today briefly, and then we'll do some Q&A. I'm going to do let me just turn down the music effects. Okay. So, yeah. All right. So, can you hear me? I haven't gotten a response yet. Give me a second. Hold on a second. Give me a second here. Whoa. All right, we had some power issues. I think I resolved them. Whoa, whoa, Raw Birds, Toledo. Merry Christmas. Sounds good. Everything's good. All right, cool, cool. 5 by 5 here. All right. All right, so I'm just going to briefly cover the topic because I'm going to do a long-form video on it. So something on the New Stack article came to my attention. And so the title of the article was Web Development Trends in 2020. Well, it's actually last year's. The trend continues, 2024, a shift from back to simplicity. So essentially, I'm not going to read the whole, I'm not going to actually read it, but a summary of the piece, basically starting in 2024, and I think it's only continuing, is this move towards simplicity in terms of the web stacks. So number one, they talk about the rise of less complex web frameworks. So they're moving away from React, moving into more nimble stuff. So they talk about point number 2, the post-React world. Point number 3, web components. So they're getting to web components. Microsoft is doing that. They call it the HTML first approach. If you've been watching my channel, you know that I've been talking about this kind of stuff for a long time. Number 4, what's new? They're talking about AI integration. Again, the thing about AI, I've been looking at it, playing with it more and more and more. I've been playing with ChatGPT, Grok. I looked at other things as well. AI is, it ain't perfect. It has problems, right? It makes mistakes. So let's, again, I'm going to put it out there for people who are watching. Is AI going to replace developers? No, not anytime soon. One thing you have to understand about development is that coding is just a small part of the process. I know for a beginner or somebody new to it, they think that coding is everything. But for a lot of development, the coding is only a part of the process. There's so much more to it when you're a developer that I don't see how, unless they get to artificial general intelligence, which if that happens, there's going to be no jobs. And I don't think that's going to happen anytime soon. Unless they get to that, I don't see how AI is going to replace developers anytime soon. Just no chance of that. You got to understand, remember, the AI people, they're hyping their stuff, right? They want to sell their product, so they're hyping their product. And one of the things I pointed out in a recent video is something you got to learn. You have to understand how AI can help you in your development game, whether you're looking to get a job or you have a job or you're freelancing, especially if you're freelancing. Because you can leverage AI to your advantage to make yourself more productive. That's the key, right? Between when you're a beginner, you're less productive. So an hour output for you will deliver, an hour of your time will deliver a certain amount of output. But as you get more experience, 1 hour of your time gets much more consequential, meaning you'll be able to output much, much more as you become better. That's why junior developers are paid much less than pros, because the pros are writing better code and they're producing better product, but they're also doing a lot more in less time. That's normal. So how do you get better? You build things, start building things. So let's see what we got here. Just understanding the ask is a battle, especially with non-technical people. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. So fuck Google is saying that being able to deal with non-technical people, trying to extract requirements from them, trying to understand what they need is a big part of it. And in fact, those middle men or women who are able to translate between the nerds and the suits being the business people, the nerds are the developers, those people in the middle who understand nerd language and suit language, they're very valuable. Good evening, Kevin. It's been a while. How are you doing? Merry Christmas, everybody, by the way. Merry Christmas. Yeah, if you like the hat, please give me a thumbs up. If you don't like the hat, give me 2 thumbs down. Yeah. AI is going to be more of a help than a hindrance for coders. Yeah, pretty much. Like I've been playing with it. AI is great, but it does make mistakes. So you can't get too excited about it, meaning you can't let it freak you out. Again, the people who are saying that it's going to replace developers are not the pro developers. Pro developers know better. As I said in other videos as well, I have seen several other technologies which were far more consequential in terms of impacting development than AI has been thus far. It's been a couple of years, right? So yeah, I wouldn't be too concerned about it. Just use it. All right, let's get into some questions. Do you think newer AI models will eventually be a threat to replace programmers? Well, what's eventually? 5 years? 25 years? Very hard to say. I would be surprised if it replaces developers within 10 years. I would be very surprised. What I think you will see, as I've seen several times before in my career since '94, is that you're going to see AI shift the type of work that we do. That's all. Again, I have seen other technologies that have come out before AI, which were far more consequential to development than AI has been thus far. It's not even close. For example, the web. Prior to the web becoming a thing in the early 90s, it started really taking off in 95, 96, 97. The way people would write apps was very different than before, than when the web came out. It was a totally different game. VB5, VB6 was huge. Thick client development was huge. And that all got brushed aside by the web technologies. This is massive, massive. AI hasn't even come close to that. Another big shift was moving to page-based web app development. Classic ASP, it was called ASP at the time. Then JSPs came out with servlets and Cold Fusion development. And again, this replaced the old Perl CGI way of developing web apps. So that was a big move as well. And then HTML5, when that came to the fore in 2011, between 2011 and 2014, that became a huge thing. It's a huge thing. Much bigger than AI, much bigger than AI. Yeah, Java. When Java came out, that had a huge impact. The old having higher level language like a Java and later on C#, replacing a lot of the things we used to do with VB6 and C++. Again, don't get too caught up in the whole AI is going to kill everything hype. It's like NFTs, you know? All right, let's answer the next question. For a non-technical person, would you recommend C# as a first language, especially it teaches you good coding habits and fundamentals? Python or JS abstract a lot of hidden things. What about Ruby? I would go with a Python or a JS first because it hides things from you. That's what you want, because it's going to be a little bit more gentle than a C# or a Java. And so once you've learned Python or JavaScript, going into C# will be like this for you. So yeah, it's like if I was to make a boxing analogy, if you want to learn how to fight, you don't want to get in the ring with Mike Tyson your first fight, right? That's C#, that's C++, that's Java. You want to get in the ring with a cream puff, something a little easier. So yeah, I would suggest Python or JavaScript as, what's going on here? Oops, sorry about the ads. Oops, pressing buttons. Yeah, I would go with a Java or a C++ for sure. Excuse me, a JavaScript or a Python before, simply because it's going to be easier to approach. Iago Steph, do you think the rise of Wix and other website builders replace web developers? Nope, not at all, not even close. They're just tools to use. Part of the what you need in the mix. Oh, hold on a second here. What's going on here? Hold on, I'm just checking some stuff up here. Give me a second. Edit. Let YouTube. Okay, there we go. I'm just adjusting some of the things here. Hold on. All right. Yeah, so don't worry about Wix or Squarespace or any of these guys. They're just tools. Just use them if they make sense. AI in its current state feels like another abstraction layer on top of programming, like how programming languages evolved to be further away from machine code. Yeah, pretty much. You could say the same thing about content management systems. You could say the same thing about, like you said, other languages, JavaScript, Python, Java, C#, Ruby, they're all abstractions, right? So yeah, it's all good. And Steph, do you think it's worth to learn the MERN stack in 2025? I'm new to coding and confused about where I should focus. I would concentrate on the key fundamentals of the web. That's my recommendation, because the web will give you the most job opportunities, and it'll also teach you a lot of different concepts. So whether you go MERN or MAMP or whatever stack you want, it's almost secondary and important, especially if you're first starting out. One of my rules, one of my principles is that you can't learn a wrong language. It's impossible. Why? Because let's say you decide to learn MERN and you find there's tons of jobs in MAMP. For you to move from MERN to MAMP will be like days, doing days, because the principles are the same, So if you like MERN, learn MERN, but start looking at the job market. Start looking at what you can see in the job market, and that will play a big role. Hey, how are you, man? Merry Christmas. Code long and profit, everybody. Merry Christmas from the Philippines, Uncle Steph. Hey, well, thanks, Angel. Welcome to the stream. Welcome, everybody. Merry Christmas, everybody. Welcome to the stream. It's been a while, so I appreciate you coming on. Also, I appreciate the thumbs up, if you don't mind. Let people know we have 72 viewers, and we only have 15 thumbs up. That's a pathetic thumbs up to viewer ratio, so I would appreciate a little punch. I think AI is going to make industry trend towards everyone being full stack and knowing everything just well enough where AI can put you over the finish line. That's a reasonable guess. Alejandro, thank you very much. No problem. Merry Christmas, Wix. If you had to name the top 3 tools in web devs, such as WordPress, etc., what would they be? That's a good question. Axel Foley, 317. I appreciate the thumbs up, guys. Top 3 web tools. Let me think about that. Well, of course, the languages, right? So I think JavaScript is the top language in web dev. That's for sure. WordPress, especially if you're thinking freelance. And maybe, I don't know, man, maybe MySQL or something, believe it or not. That's it, it's hard to say because the technology is so evolved now. It's refined to the point where you got all these competing solutions. Anyway, so you got all these competing solutions that are pretty good. They're pretty good. Let me know, guys, in the comments, how's the stream? Is it smooth enough for you guys? I'm getting some error messages, or some warnings rather, from Google here, from YouTube. What do you have recommendations on what portfolio should have to stand if entry-level roles, since more experienced are applying for them since large layoffs? Make sure you have practical projects. If you only have school projects, what you need to do is you got to get some practical projects. I always recommend to do 2 to 3 free freelance jobs. Could be little things, installing people's WordPress. And you want to get rid of the school projects out of there. That's my first recommendation. I don't have a technical background, but I'm building 2 apps at the moment. It's going much better than expected. I had a lot of setbacks initially, but now I'm figuring out how to do it better. That's very cool, man. Good luck. Congratulations on that. Good luck. Listen, guys, if you have an idea for an app, you don't need to be a master developer. Just start building that damn thing. Just start building it, and you'll be fine. Hello, the late night in Sweden. Hey, Merry Christmas. Christmas for you now, I would imagine. And thanks for watching the stream. Appreciate it. Stefano. Well, it's just Stefano, actually. At 70, is it too late to enter the web dev game, and where to start? Need to hustle. Yeah, you're going to have to go, my suggestion at 70, unless you, I don't know what your background is. Are you like a retired lawyer? Are you a retired accountant? Or a retired electrician? I don't know. Or you have no skills otherwise. Either way, I would suggest freelancing. I think there's going to be a lot of boomers who are looking to start up side hustles and businesses, and they're going to need a web presence of some sort, whether it be a website or a WordPress site or a Wix site, or they don't know what to do with all these things. So yeah, I would suggest, I would lean towards the freelance space, and that would be my recommendation. Oh, hold on, I'm getting it interesting. Okay, status of stream is good. Okay. All right, wait. Fuck Google says, I think you're right. I think it will create a more competitive environment where you have to know much more. I think this will make it difficult to get started in the industry. No, it will not, Frank. I don't think it's going to make it harder. It's just going to shift the work that we do. Remember, back in the late 90s, what we did in the web development field and web design field is very different from what we do today. In some ways, you have to be far more technically savvy, but in other ways, it's a lot easier. You know, it was a different skill set. That was the best way of describing it. So I don't think it's going to be harder. I think it's just going to be different. Hi, how would you approach coding in 2025? A big book of fundamentals and choose a language like Python, as stated, or maybe learning the fundamentals by doing a language? Well, Ali, I recommend my courses, of course. I have an interactive training course. It's very unique. It teaches the fundamentals as you learn the languages. So try one. Try my Python course. It's Python Interactive. And you'll do that. You'll be surprised at how much you learn. And once you have those fundamentals under your belt and understood, you'll be able to approach everything else pretty easily. With technology evolving so rapidly, how can I future-proof my skills? I want to get a Neuralink implant and program just by thinking. This will put me ahead of my competitors. Yeah, Neuralink is very cool. Yeah. No, I don't think the technology space is evolving so quickly. At least not in the web. In programming and development, it's been pretty consistent for years and years now. So you'll be fine now. It's looking good here. In Sweden, it's looking good. That's good, good. Built a project, how are we doing, 73? Build a project using AWS servers that will actually get you hired, in my opinion. Depends what you want. As a network engineer that follows you, I just noticed 90% of problems seem to be WordPress plugin crashing, learning on the side soon. Yeah, well, that's it. Something I talk about all the time. WordPress projects, WordPress plugins are the main vector of attack on WordPress. So one of the principles I teach is simplicity. It ain't groundbreaking. It's the best athletes in the world will tell you, the best business leaders in the world will tell you that. Simplicity is the key. And you don't want to have too many WordPress plugins because they're the primary reason why WordPress crashes, primary vector of attack is via the WordPress plugin. So you want to be very minimal with your WordPress plugins. As it's been seen on the video game industry and film industry with people having a negative reaction to studios using AI, do you think there will be something similar in the web space? I don't think so, because the film industry and the game industry is probably a lot of unions in there, and they're big, huge productions, where a lot of web is small production. So embrace the AI, my friend. Don't be the horseshoe makers who were trying to block automobiles from hitting the ground, Again, I'm telling you, AI is not that big a deal in development. It really isn't. I know you think it is because AI has a broad appeal. It's all over the place. But like I said, web development itself was far more impactful in terms of programming than AI has been so far. It's not even close. It's not even close. So I wouldn't be too concerned about any of that. What's the current mouse keyboard setup? So this is the Apple, because I use Apple. So this is my Apple keyboard. And the only reason I got this keyboard, it's pretty good. I had a Logitech keyboard beforehand, which I thought it was better feel. But I went with this one because it's got the biometric, it's got the fingerprint for logging into things. So I like using my fingerprint here. So that's why I got this. But for the mouse, I got the Logitech, Logitech. This is the MX Master 3. See if I can get it in focus. This is the MX Master 3 mouse. Fantastic mouse. Best mouse I ever got. Highly recommended. Highly recommended. So that's what I got for the mouse and keyboard. Hope that helps, Ivan. So I'm getting a bunch of warnings. Warnings from with regards to my bit rates. Let me know how the stream is going for you guys. Hi, Uncle Steph. Happy holidays. Happy holidays. Code long and profit. After your full dev course, which is a good place to learn React and how to bundle components. Well, I think once you've done my dev course, you should be able to just find any YouTube React course and then follow along there. Don't spend too much time in tutorial hell. Just do a basic intro to React and then try to build something and just work your way through it. The key, hey Slugstar, the key to becoming a great developer is you want to get actually building things as soon as possible. You don't want to be constantly trying to learn things because then you'll never actually get into the game. I'll use a boxing analogy. There are two types of people in the boxing gym. There were the pad hitters, the people who just kept doing drills, heavy bag, and doing pad work, but they didn't get in the ring. They didn't want to spar because they were afraid. And then you had other people who were sparring all the time. So once, with my coach, who was an amazing coach, he had amateur record 77-2. So that's like, anybody who knows fighting knows that's stellar. And he would get us in the ring almost like, once we got our basics down, just the fundamental punches, the fundamental body mechanics, fundamental stepping, then we would get in the ring all the time. It was like when I was training in boxing, I would be in the ring. I would do 25 rounds a week. 25 rounds a week was common for me. That's how you learn to fight. You fight. Steph, Laravel, WordPress, two different beasts. Never heard your opinion on this. Guess it depends what you want to use it in the front end. Well, okay, so Laravel is a full stack PHP framework, which is extremely popular, very capable. My Studioweb software, my learning SaaS, is actually Laravel based. And WordPress is a content management system. And through its plugin architecture and its theme architecture, you can really customize it. But there are different use cases. I would use WordPress when you want to build content-rich sites where you want to publish information, online magazines, that kind of thing, blog sites, that kind of thing. Whereas Laravel is for anything. Laravel, you could build WordPress with Laravel. You could build a content management system, but Laravel is more low level, meaning you have to build all these things, whereas WordPress has got all these facilities built in, code editors and content editing, and it's all there, ready to go. Authentication, different roles are established. It's all ready to go. There's authentication modules in Laravel, but it's more low level, meaning if you have a general app you want to build, but it's not necessarily a content management system, then you would go with Laravel. So otherwise, it's WordPress. Well, school project good if you can evolve them. I'm in school now and have a game and also a React project. I evolve with API database. It's a start. But what you want to do is you want to actually build real projects for a real company. You have to understand, a big part about being a developer is talking to the client or your boss and getting requirements and developing something, putting it out there. They want to see, prospective employers want to see that you can work with others. That's the key part of it. So school projects are a good start, but you want to get into the real thing, you know, as quickly as possible. Hello from Nigeria. Hey, how you doing, man? Daniel, Code Long and Profit. Merry Christmas, everybody. Appreciate the thumbs up, if you will. How many people are watching now? We got 89 people, 36 thumbs up. The thumbs up ratio is not too good, guys. If you can pump that a little bit for the algos, you know how it is. Merry Christmas, Danielle, Kevin. Yeah, by the way, when you log in, tell me where you're from. So say, Danielle, we got Kevin Howard. From where? From whence you come. So we know Danielle, Hanacho, I probably said that wrong, Lanacho, from Nigeria. So we know he's from Nigeria, but where's Kevin from? Where's Danielle from? No, we know Daniel's from Nigeria. Where'd Edward Casimir is from? Where? Sweden, G is from Sweden, of course. So yeah, let me know. I'm just curious. Put it in the comments. I want to be a digital nomad and work from anywhere. If I become a successful programmer, I could work in Buenos Aires for a few months and then shift to Vietnam for a few more. Total freedom. Yeah, pretty much, man. And you're going to do small business freelance work probably. And I would go learn your web stack, learn some PHP, learn some WordPress, learn some Laravel, and you're going to do well. AI is just an e-helping tool for me. Yeah, for a lot of people, that's what it is. That's what it is. All right. What's up? Ritwick says, I have almost 4 years of gap after graduating with a BE degree in ECE. I'm currently learning the MERN stack. Will the gap put me in a back foot compared to other new grads? How to justify the gap? Well, I would just, I don't know what you were doing during that gap. Tell me you were working on some projects, or maybe, I don't know. I don't know what you were doing, so it's hard for me to say. I would learn the basics of the MERN as quickly as possible, and then I would get into building some freelance projects for people as quickly as possible. That's the key. You can look at my previous videos where I talk about all this. What's the best GPU to buy for a newbie learning programming? Or just go with a Mac, budget about 1,000 and iPhone user. If you're an iPhone user, I just get a MacBook Air. Get a secondhand Air for a 3-year-old Air. You don't need super powerful GPU for programming unless you're doing AI or something. So for 99% of programming, get a MacBook Air, and that's what I have. I have an Air. And make sure you have at least 16 gig of RAM. You have 16 gig of RAM, you'll be fine. But you don't have to get a new computer. Just get like a 3-year-old Air. You know, that's the thing about Apple computers. They last a long time. Like I have a 2000 MacBook Air. I put in a lot of memory. I put a lot of storage space, but that's for the video. I put a terabyte, but 250, 500 gigabyte to be safe, 16 gig of RAM, and get a secondhand 3-year-old or refurbished, and Bob's your uncle, ready to go. What do you think the future is for remote work? There's a lot of hype right now to make everyone, well, for larger corporations, remote work will get reduced a little bit in some companies, I would imagine. But if you're a freelance developer, small business developer, it's all about remote, always has been. Was in the electronic and computer field in the 80s, then went into transportation industry as a commercial driver. So now I went back into web dev. So I'm looking to where I can start and get a bag of cash. All right. So you got some good background. Went into the transportation industry as a commercial driver. Okay. So yeah, I would think Walter Watler, I would suggest Everson Watler, I would suggest that get into the web stack and then start thinking about small business development. See if you got any contacts in the transportation industry, perhaps you can leverage, and just start working that out, build a portfolio site, do a couple of free projects and take it from there. Your job is 50% learn technical and 50% develop a network. And why not stay healthy, Do what I call micro exercises. You know, get up during the day, do 10 push-ups 3, 4, 5 times a day. Do some stretches, some kicking, drink lots of water, sleep well, lift some weights twice a week, eat healthy, natural foods. At 70, you know, I'm not there yet, but you gotta, you know how it is. You gotta eat really well. Get your body fat percentage under 20% if you can. Under 20%. Introduce fasting. Why did I talk about this? You gotta be healthy, man. I'm putting out a new program, and integrated into the program is health advice. Stuff integrated, woven into the program, easy to do, healthy habits that will give you a lot of energy, improve your cognitive capacity. So right now I'm drinking hot water and bone broth. It's pretty good. How good at managing and manipulating data have you become while building SaaS? I became fucking good at it. Excuse the language. I became super good. Yeah, I had to manage a lot of data with Studioweb. We've had millions of users on the platform. And yeah, I'm very good at managing data, you know, very good. I haven't managed, you know, data like at Instagram or Facebook, not even close to that, but I've managed millions of users. That's mostly about database, just smart database design, smart database queries, smart caching. That's what it really is all about. But the design, good database design is the start of that. Agree on that so much. Had no idea about backend. I'm in school front end at the moment, but the project I wanted to build needed backend, so I put it in TypeScript, API database, and so on. But I learned, yeah, the key is you want to just, you know, you want to just work on building real projects. Matthias, Argentina, very cool. Yes, doing 2 sites now for 2 different companies also. That's fantastic. That's exactly what you want to do. You guys got to get out of the cradle, got to get out of the crib. You got to go out there and build something for real. The great thing about my strategy, like for my mentoring group and program, I have people go out there and build real projects for real companies. And you do the first 2 or 3 for free for 2 reasons. Number one, when you're doing it for free, you take the risk out of it for the client, right? You're not paying me. I'm learning, first project, you tell them, I'll do it for free. You don't want to work for 6 months on these things. It's like a 1 week, 2 week project, you know? And at the same time, it takes pressure off of you because you know you run it like a real project. You got to treat it seriously. But because you're not getting paid, there's a lot less pressure on you. So you just work through it, you know? That's what I have people do, and that's what I suggest. It's a great hack. It's my hack to get you experience so that you can get the job or start building a freelance business. On the other hand, if you're just going to build a SaaS, you don't need any experience. Just start building the SaaS. Just build it. And you just fix it along the way. Just want to say hello from the UK and happy Christmas. Hey, thanks, Ryan. Happy Christmas. And thanks for dropping by. It must be pretty late now out there. From Macedonia. Hey, thanks, man. Welcome to the stream, Mr. Zed. Project ideas, Steph, where people find potential SaaS ideas. Trey Brown. That comes down to you understanding the market you're getting into. You know what I mean? It's like the ideas for a good SaaS has nothing to do with the technology. It has everything to do with the problem you're trying to solve, right? The technology is just a tool to solve that problem. So I don't have any ideas. Well, for example, I was talking to a friend of mine who owns a pretty successful restaurant downtown here in Montreal. And he had a problem. His problem was that his menus, they're very expensive to print. When he prints a set of menus, it costs him about $5,000. And so if he has to add a dish change a price, it's a very expensive proposition, right? Because they got to reprint all the menus. So he's thinking, how can I get around that? So we had a conversation about that recently. And he was thinking about using Android tablet or an iPad, and then putting the menu in digital format, and then just having a set of iPads the waiters hand out, and people will click and they can see the menu. And if you need to change the menu, you don't have to print up a whole bunch of new menus. You just change it digitally, and boom, or you got the new price, or you got the new dish in the menu. So it's great, but there are problems with that. Problems, you gotta make sure people don't steal the iPads. They don't break the iPads. How durable are they going to be? These are all issues that developers have to contend with. If you see these problems, do you go with Android? Do you go with an iPad? Which iPad? Are there third-party providers you can rent an iPad? How do you regularize them? Do you create a custom app for the iPad, or you just maybe put some PDFs on the desktop of the iPad? I don't know. These are all questions that have to be answered. But this is the job of what developers do. So you go in to see the restaurateur, and you say, okay, what do you got to do? Well, we don't want to print menus anymore. Okay, so you're thinking iPads. Okay, how many waiters do you have? How many tables do you have? How many iPads do you think you're going to need? How many menus do you have floating around the restaurant in a given hour, right? And that determines, okay, we're going to need 10 iPads. We're going to need 30 iPads. How big do you want them? Do you want to just display a static menu? Do you want them to be able to order from that iPad? See all the questions I'm asking here? This is what developers do. You notice I'm not writing any code yet, right? I may not write code. We may start off with a very simple solution where you have locked down Android tablets with PDFs on the desktop. So they go and you just say, here's your PDF. Click on this, boom, there's your menu. You can zoom around the menu and tell us what you want. So, that's one option, So, yeah, there you go. So when you're trying to come up with a SaaS idea, it has less to do with the tech and much more to do with understanding the business needs. Hope that makes sense. Can you please do a coding stream once? Why? I have plenty of videos on coding where you can watch me code all kinds of stuff. Been watching you for years. Keep up the good work. Coding Mountain Man. I remember. I think you've been on the stream before. Merry Christmas. And welcome to the... thanks for coming by the stream. By the way, how are we doing? We got 91 users and 44 thumbs. Can we jack the thumbs a little bit, guys? Can we get the thumbs up just a little bit? Everybody click the thumbs. Just, you know how it is. Hey, Gregory, how are you, man? Do you think the future of small business web dev is CMS systems? I think a lot of it is that. I think there's a lot of CMS out there. I think it's going to be CMS, e-commerce implementations, maybe some AI, chatbot implementations. There's a lot of hype in that, so maybe a lot of companies will want to integrate chatbots into their websites. So, yeah. Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. Much appreciated. I have done 2 own WordPress projects. Want to start freelance? How to get projects? Where to start? Well, what you want to do first of all is you want to set up your portfolio website. Make sure that's up to date. Maybe do some SEO related promoting, basically articles for that you publish on your site. Start joining some communities. Start talking to people around town. See, I go out to eat a lot because I live downtown here in Montreal. And I talk to people all the time. So I could have, and I'm not even looking for gigs, but I could have gotten 2 or 3 development gigs just in the last month with companies because they know what I do. And they say, hey, Steph, would you be interested? I don't do consulting anymore in that regard. So yeah, you got to do some good old-fashioned networking. That helps a lot. 16 gigs of RAM is true. Yeah, 16 gig is like a good minimum. If you want to get super exciting, go to 32, but 16 will carry you 99% of the time. Merry Christmas here from NG. Well, thanks. Merry Christmas to you. Thanks for joining the stream. Hello from Nigeria. Animali Shorts. How do you fix the black screen glitch on VS Code? I've tried doing the disable GPU thing and it didn't work. Uninstalling and reinstalling, it didn't work too. I don't know, man. Is this on Windows, I guess? Maybe look at, you would have to look at the VS Code board, see what they have to say. Have you tried installing a previous version of VS Code if you can find it? That might help, you know. After learning WordPress dev, I want to get into Shopify next. Yeah. Wherever it is. I don't know how to stop energy drink as a developer. Yeah, be careful. Don't go too crazy with the energy drinks. It's not the healthiest for it. Too much caffeine and sugar, you know. Maybe start moving off of energy drinks into coffee. Get the sugar out of your system. Sugar's bad for you, buddies. What is the bone broth? It's a powder that you mix into hot water. It gives you a bunch of protein. Is Mac Air good for hash cracking? I've never done hash cracking, but I would assume no. It sounds like a GPU heavy task. And if that is the case, then Mac Air is not your candidate for that. They're not GPU centric computers. In the Apple world, you want to go with the pros. Yeah. What do you think about N8N, especially about code nodes, which allows JS or Python code in the middle of the workflow? I'm not familiar with N8N. I would have to look that up. I'm learning Spring Boot on Udemy, and it's hard. My long-term goal is to build a SaaS and create a portfolio with WhatsApp, Clone, and Airbnb to put it on my resume. I would, why Spring? Do you know Java? I would move away from Java personally. And I did a lot of Java. I would move into JavaScript world or PHP world, especially if you want to build a SaaS. Hey, Pavo. Hey, Real Songs, how you doing? Some old faces. Welcome to the stream. Thanks for the thumbs up, everybody. How are we doing for time here? 15 minutes. Yeah, I think I have to take some sleep before my daughter comes in and wake me up at 3:06 in the AM here. Good night, all, and have a great weekend. Merry Christmas. Merry Christmas, man. Thanks for joining the stream. Merry Christmas from Nigeria. Very good. Thanks for joining the stream. All right. How risky is it for newbies to build point-of-sale sites for a company, or is there a good, safe third-part integration? Well, it's a broad question. I don't see it as any more risky. What you do is you want to offload any of the transactions, the sales transactions, onto a third-party platform. So you build the store and the cart and the shopping cart and everything on the site, and then when they go to pay with the credit card, just bump them into like a PayPal or Stripe or something like that. Take it off your site. That takes away all the security issues. I'm in the middle of the Odin project. I want to build a web app to maintain student database and has a basic HR functionality with Node. Do you think it's too ambitious for a beginner? Just do a simple implementation. For your web app, I would maybe come up with the top 3 features that are important to the application and then build off of that. Keep your code simple and clean and modular, and you'll be fine. Hey, Uncle Steph, previously you mentioned that JavaScript is minimally needed in H. Let me try this one. In a previous video, you mentioned that JavaScript is very minimally needed in freelance world. This is true. Could you go into detail as to exactly what we would need JavaScript when freelancing? Well, unless you're doing node development with Express, which is server side, client side JavaScript it's used a lot there, but you're going to spend much more time on the back end. That's for sure. One of the things you have to consider is that for front-end development, you have to remember any code processed in the front end, whether it be React or whatnot, is hackable. So it's using JavaScript, but a lot of small freelance projects are going to be PHP WordPress. So in that case, JavaScript is just, it depends on the project, but you're going to see it's not as nearly as used as it would be otherwise. Of course, if you're doing React development for medium and large size companies, then it's all JavaScript. But freelance is, you're going to be working mostly small business. Small business, it's WordPress, PHP a lot of times. Yes, MySQL is important for freelance and web dev. As long as you know what an SQL database is, you can design tables, you can execute the basic CRUD queries. The database, whether you use Postgre or MS SQL or MySQL, it's not super relevant, and with some exceptions, they're all very similar. Blazor is still a good option. I haven't looked at it recently, so I don't have an answer, Mr. Botha. I think from South Africa, right? JC Botha from South Africa. Nah, no problem. Merry Christmas, Merry Christmas. I'm doing an interview in Java and Spring Boot Friday. If I were that guy trying to build a SaaS, go to PHP, Laravel, or Python, and one other framework I like is Flask. I agree. Yeah, Spring Boot is really, Java Spring Boot is for enterprise, meaning very large corporations, very large legacy projects mostly. If you're building a SaaS, you want to go with lighter, nimble technologies like PHP, Laravel, or Python Flask, or Python Django, or JavaScript Express. You don't want to be doing no C# or any Java. And I did a lot of Java. Been switching stacks in tech for some time. Was previously on PHP Laravel, currently on Ruby Rails because of the job at hand. Planning to just focus on it for now to get good at it. Practice one kick. Yeah, 100%. 100%, Marwan. I agree with that. When I was doing martial arts, about 9 years into it, I remember I would do multiple martial arts at the same time. So Monday, Wednesday, one style, Tuesday, Thursday, another style, and then on the weekend I would do something else. And I would flop around like that. And I was pretty good, but one of my teachers pulled me aside. He said, Steph, the problem is you're trying to do too many things. So you're intermediate level, but you should be much higher level. And the problem was I was trying to do too many things. So you have to pick one thing and work it really well. And he says, then you'll raise your game and it'll reflect everything. And that's exactly what I did. So I took a leap of faith. I didn't quite understand it at the time, but I did. And so I took one style, I picked one style, and I just did it 4 days a week, 5 days a week. And then I got much better at it. And then across the board, all styles, I got much better. So that's the same thing with development. Yeah, so if you're on Ruby Rails and you got a project, and just really get really, really, really good with Ruby Rails, and then you'll be fine. Why would stay away from Java? Java is good in the enterprise level, meaning huge projects, legacy. But if you're starting a new project where you got to be nimble and fast, Java is not good for getting a project up and running quickly. It's too encumbered right now. It's too bureaucratic. That's what Java has become. It's become a bureaucratic language. Hey, how are you, man? Thanks for joining the stream. Merry Christmas. Cool thing. Yep, South Africa. Yeah. Why you joke around about Ruby all the time? I get it, but is something really behind the joke? Haha. The Ruby joke, there's a couple of things. With the Ruby joke, I'm just making fun of people who say that one language sucks and the other one is better. All the languages are capable. It just depends on what you're doing. So I'm making fun of not so much the language, but I use Ruby as the target. The other reason is that I have a long history going back to 2007 where I was making fun of Ruby developers for whatever reason. I have articles I wrote that took down the communities, actually. I got so angry about my articles. Back in 07, 08, if you go to killerphp.com, you can find that. If you search for Killer PHP, then search Ruby off the Rails, you find old articles where I was trash talking Ruby and Rails. I think Ruby and Rails are actually pretty good. It's just that long history there, that's all. Steph, you heard of Kotlin multi-platform? No, I haven't. Kotlin is if I was working with the JVM, with the Java Virtual Machine, I would lean towards Kotlin, using Kotlin to access the JVM. What are some of the most overused buzzwords or tools in development that annoys you? I don't know about tools. Well, I think that DevOps has gotten too much. I believe in DevOps, but they've gotten really crazy with how complex DevOps has become. I think it's stupid. I think that all the nerds talking about how important algorithms are is annoying to me because they're not in most development. Algorithm writing is only important in very specialized programming, game engine design, high-end AI research maybe. But for web development and most business app development, algorithms is not important. Also, data structures. Data structures. Any basic course, any good fundamentals course will teach you enough about the fundamental data structures of software development. But to become a data structures master, to learn, it's a waste of time for most developers. I love Java. It's too damn heavy. Laugh out loud. Exactly. That's what it is, Trey. Exactly. Same thing. I stopped writing Java many years ago because it's just too heavy. I use Ruby Rails. I use Ruby on Rails as a government contractor for a 3-letter agency. Rails is alive and pays well, $120K. Yeah, for sure. Are you working on any personal projects at the moment? Mr. Yasir Latif, welcome to the stream. Not in terms of software, but I'm working on designing a new program specifically related to entrepreneurship and business. I've been coding since 94. Well, that's when I got first paid, but I've been in business for longer. I first learned to write code to build a website for my business at that time. So I'm putting together a program on business and entrepreneurship. Is the real work as a programmer hard? I've learned it since 2014 and graduated as a software developer. However, I never worked as a real developer. I'm a TPS and implementation manager now. It depends. It depends on the type of development. It depends who you're talking to. I've known guys who are very good developers, like fantastic, work at Apple, work at Microsoft, and other huge corporations. But they have a hard time just designing a half-decent front end. They're back-end guys. I know people who are fantastic developers in terms of device driver. They write lots of complex code for device drivers and maintaining some pretty complex hardware chains. But they don't do very much front end or web dev's not their thing. They're not good at it. So for them, web dev is very hard, and for them, device driver coding is very easy. So it depends. It can be pretty intense when you're coding, especially when you're building the business objects, if you will, the brains of your projects. That's intense work. You can't sort of half-ass do it. But if you're building, the scaffolding, if you will, for an app or for a code base, let's say you're putting together the interfaces and stuff, that could be done. That's pretty lightweight, So it depends. I find personally that most of the work in development is in the planning stages. That's the hardest part, where you're trying to figure out the components, like how are you going to structure this? Should you, like the aforementioned project, I talked about the digitization of the menu for that restaurant. The hard part is like making that choice of whether you go iPad, you go to Android, you go smaller tablet, larger tablet, do you ruggedize it? Do you have to ruggedize it? Do you implement a custom app or not? What kind of security are you going to do? Blah, 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 blah. So these are all, that to me is the harder part, that analysis. But when you start, writing some code to do certain things, that's not so hard, from my point of view. Systems design is another useless topic unless you want to work for big tech. Yeah, pretty much. Just purchase your Python course. I'm a network engineer, but watch all your content. Who knows, you may convert me. Well, I appreciate it. Thanks for picking up the Python course. let me know how it goes. Let me know how it goes. Starts off easy, and slowly ramps up, but give it a go. It will. There's a method to my madness in terms of how the whole thing is structured, the teaching method. I'm sure you will like it a lot. All right, guys, done an hour. Thanks for joining the stream, the Christmas stream. So that's pretty much it. If you have any other questions I didn't get to answer, put them in the comments below, and I will take a look at it. Not tomorrow. Tomorrow's Christmas, but next few days I'll take a look at stuff. Thanks for joining. I appreciate the thumbs up. If you haven't already given me a thumbs up, please do give me a thumbs up. I appreciate it. And I will leave you with my ASMR video of Cape Elizabeth, Maine. So we'll leave you with that. Once again, Merry Christmas. Cheers. Let me, where's that video? Hold on a second. Where is it? There we go, Cape Elizabeth. All right. Good night, everybody. Merry Christmas. And we'll talk soon. We'll talk soon.
Uh-huh.